Alright, we're back after some additional technical difficulties that are coming in during our stream setup. But it seems it's all resolved now, so let's start it from the top. This is Omnirabbit, and this stream going up on my personal channel is being restreamed on the 2_MK channel with my full permission. And past few days, we've been trying to do bot tune-ups, and we've been getting worn down by technical difficulties like the one we just had about 10 minutes ago. But here we are, trying to work on how Season 3 changes our bots, whether it is due to the balance changes that have come up, or whether it's because of the second V-trigger. Today, I'm going to be continuing that series, and focusing mostly on the effects of the V-trigger, because that tends to be pretty heavy. But also on the balance changes for the more minute stuff. Some bots will need a lot more tuning than others, and we're doing it live so that you can see what changes. That said, let's look at the bot that doesn't change that much, Cammy. So I've set Cammy here with V-trigger 2, but it doesn't actually matter, because in the end, she has no V-trigger inputs. You can put V-trigger inputs on her as a variant, but it really doesn't change that much. The main worry from here is actually the balance changes, which is that they increase the pushback on the crouch slide kick and crouch slide punch, so that that little shimmy might not work nearly as well. And if you're on the version 1 of the input, it's a little more notable, because then she actually does the tick throw every time instead of this. But it seems reasonable. It seems to still be real. So I'm not that worried. So for her, yeah, that height still works. So overall, CammyBot doesn't seem to be affected at all. So good news for anybody who has their CammyBot on here. She'll still work pretty much exactly as she did before. There I am, just throwing claps. And overall, you know, it's still the same. Still hard to figure out when she's actually going to throw there, which is part of why Stage 2 is as hard as it is. So, not much to show here, but I'll fight her for a little bit longer, probably until she kills me. Maybe get a... Maybe get a little test of my own V-trigger here. Well, that's a nice... If you just notice that, she hit the turn knuckle into stand medium kick. I'm pretty sure she couldn't do that before, because they made the turn knuckle +7 on hit, so that's pretty cool. And a bit. So, CammyBot and several of our other bots just don't use V-trigger at all. They don't have a V-trigger in their inputs, and some of them don't even have variants that, you know, benefit from it that much. Given that the objective of Cammy is to help you focus on throw pressure, adding in this thing that does extra damage doesn't really do much other than increase the difficulty a little bit. So if you're gonna upgrade your bot, I guess, to the other V-trigger, it's just not gonna make a difference, which is great if you've already put in these inputs and you don't want to go back and do them all over again. So that's what happens when you don't have a V-trigger in their inputs. Now, some of our bots do have a V-trigger in their inputs, but their new V-trigger doesn't really mess with the goal of the bot. It more so just makes it behave a little differently while still achieving the core idea. And some of those need just very, very minor tweaks, maybe just one action having a slight change in it to really become effective with their V-trigger 2. So with that, let's change character here.
Hillside Plaza.
And
Laura.
let's get Ed out. So I'm actually going to leave him on V-Trigger 1 so I can show off what exactly he achieves with V-Trigger 1. The purpose of EdBot is to help you work on finding spaces in your opponent's moves so that you can move in and throw. And to achieve that, EdBot has a lot of pressuring normals and specials to make you think about the gaps, as you're going to see very shortly. I wonder why it doesn't save this. Right, see, Psycho Knuckle, Psycho Spark, lots of stuff that makes it hard to just get in and throw them. And there. That. So you see, he uses the V-Trigger to establish a big moving ball of death so that you can't dash in on him. It's another wall that you need to find a gap in. Given this purpose, his second V-Trigger is not particularly better or worse than the first V-Trigger. In some cases it's more effective, in some other cases it's a little less effective, based on what your reaction to a giant big ball of death is. But in terms of, you know, getting you a gap that you can dash and throw into, it doesn't change a whole lot. And from what I can tell, none of his normals really changed in ways that we care about for the bot. They didn't get, they got their plus frames changed, you know, their on-hit properties changed, but it wasn't a change of the startup frames. So most of the changes to this bot are just going to be on what V-Trigger 2 does. I'm just gonna let him kill me here. Whoop. That is rough, man. Huh, that reaches a lot farther than I thought. His hurt box must be huge after the Psycho Upper. And that is the main thing that's going to change. That sweep into V-Trigger action is the main thing that's going to change when we switch to V-Trigger 2. Because that works completely differently. Right? And I got beat. Alright. So, here we are. Snap into that version select. And let's get him the enhanced snatcher. So, as you can see, it doesn't change a whole lot of the general footsies of the bot. But that becomes a problem. His fully charged V skill, his fully charged enhanced snatcher ends up facing up. Right? And I believe that the reason that that happens is because we're canceling, as you can see in the inputs on the right, it's a little faint here. We're canceling sweep into down V trigger. And down V trigger, down V skill. And if you look at the EdBot inputs on action 4, that probably shouldn't end up happening. So instead, first of all, let's do a slightly better cancel into the V trigger because sweep isn't too great. Crouching medium kick is fine. Crouching heavy punch probably works. So let's alter that a little bit so that he can be more effective. So let's just go to action 4 here. Alright. Get a little closer. Oh, I need to get the V trigger back. Alright, so alright, and let's just play that one by itself for a little while. Oh, I just need to test something. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. I need to let go of down back when I cancel into the V trigger. Okay, so oh, that was a weird negative edge. I've never seen something like that. See if it works out, actually. Right, and now we've got that. And so now we not only have an action that does... Right, and so now we can get him to do Snatcher from all the way across the screen, which is much more effective. It's much more effective than him throwing at the sky where you're not focused. You're generally focused on trying to dash in on him because in the end, EdBot is about approaching grounded opponents, dash in, throw. And it adds another a space control tool to his arsenal to keep you from dashing forward. So that in turn makes him a more effective bot. With V-Trigger 2 at least. And with V-Trigger 1, it makes his confirm real. It means, you know, crouch medium kick into V-Trigger is completely legit. Oh, I should be sending his CA gauge to auto-recover. My bad. But as you can see, most of his behavior is unchanged. It just adds that. Most of the things that make EdBot a problem are still pretty much the same. Might have been a little slow on that 4 input, but other than that, pretty legit. I think I actually even held the B skill better this time. Whoops. So apparently if you hold the medium punch and forward a little too hard, his Psycho Spark comes out, which is interesting and probably meaningful to Ed players. And he gets this mix-up, which is a perfectly real mix-up that Ed players will absolutely land on you for the same reason that Psycho Knuckle into EX Upper is a mix-up. So glad to see our bot pulling some real Ed tech here. Oof. I've always had a bunch of trouble with that bot. I think I held a little too long on 4, but it doesn't seem to cause that much of an issue. Oh, I dashed a little too late there. Are they getting any points here? I should do more EdBot.
Perfect KO.
If anything, it makes him a little better at what he's doing in terms of pressuring you, because it gives him one more thing that he just pressures you with, as opposed to the very slow moving ball. But I mean, because they're both achieving the same goal, you can just use them for the particular matchup training that you have. If you fight a lot of Eds with V-Trigger 2, go for it. If you fight a lot of Eds with V-Trigger 1, also go for it. It doesn't change that much. And to demonstrate that, I'm just going to switch him back. Oh, I should reset to middle. Middle. Thank you. Touchpads on the fight sticks are a little weird. Alright, see? He does this just as well, and he has his wonderful, wonderful medium kick, crouch medium kick. So you learn to do stuff like reversal that on this form. If you have a strike reversal anyway. That has so much startup, it has like 13 frames of startup. Always be careful using that as a reversal on Ed. But yeah, overall you see it's almost all the same because the normals are the same. If anything, he's a little more effective because of the crouch medium kick now. Back. Be a little more patient. Whew. So, as you've seen with Ed, adapting to the Season 3 changes has been pretty easy with Cammy and EdBot. Because in Cammy's case, she doesn't even have a V-trigger, and her balance changes aren't really relevant. And in Ed's case, his balance changes aren't relevant at all. And his V-trigger 2 achieves a lot of the same goals from the mindset of, you know, presenting something with a lot of pressure that you have to get in on. And so it's really not a big deal with them. I just redid one action, and it's not even a big modification or a difficult one either. But what about a bot that has a V-trigger from Season 3? That the V-trigger just performs something completely different to the first V-trigger in a way that probably hurts the goal of the bot in the first place. For this, we're going to move to Guile. The purpose of the Guile bot is to train bulldogging and hit confirms, focusing how to get on an opponent without throws, without jumps, you know, usually without even dashing. And while most of his normals remain the same, the bazooka knee and the back fist have been changed to be slower recovery and slower on start effectively. However, I don't expect either of these changes to really affect the bot all that much, though if you want to practice whiff punishing bazooka knee, feel free, because that's a thing that Capcom, they added plenty of recovery to that. What I do expect to change though is, as I said, the V-Trigger 2. The V-Trigger 1 on GalBot, you will see very soon. The purpose of it is just to make you add another thing to focus on in terms of bulldogging into him. And it's sort of hard to get it to trigger. Because it's in action 1, but it's hidden. But because it's sort of hard, despite the pretty drastic change in B trigger, it isn't like it affects the central concept of the bot, because the central concept of the bot is this interaction. It's the Sonic Blade, the EX Sonic Boom, some flash kicks, that sort of thing. There we go. And so you see, now that he has the B trigger, makes it even harder for you to get in, because he's just throwing this wall of booms at you. Which is pretty different to what he does in B trigger 2, which is he has these powered up flash kicks. But again, this isn't really central to the bot. I had to, you know, push on him to get him to do that. You have to get him into a specific situation, whether on wake up or otherwise, to get him to actually do that action. It's not a central concept. So I can fight him for a while, you know, and I'm not going to do anything this time. I'm just going to play regular old GuileBot. Ooh, missed the hit confirm there. Can't remember if they reduced the range on that for Laura. It certainly feels like they did, but I haven't looked at the hitboxes yet. Right, and that's the main thing that ends up happening, is you get hit by that hard punch or one of his other normals, and he goes into V-trigger and he starts pushing you out. Whoop. Alright, so that's Gao with V-Trigger 1. He doesn't use it that often. It's in Action 1 and it's hidden. So, let's see what happens when I shift to Knife Edge. I'm going to be trying to trigger it here, just to see what happens. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that you just couldn't punish. So it makes bulldogging on him a little easier. It absolutely does. And it actually makes his Action 3 not do as many flash kicks. That's really strange. Because you saw right before, he was doing flash kicks all day. And in fact, if I leave him to his own devices, he'd probably start doing flash kicks again. Whoops! I should not have done that. That is a little strange. Whoops. Yeah, there's a flash kick. That's what normally happens. But he ended up doing sweep. Overall though, I don't think it changes the core concept of the bot that much. You're still bulldogging, you're still trying to get in on these sonic booms, but I wouldn't recommend it in terms of practicing the bulldogging by itself, because again, you're not getting much more out of this specific V trigger. You're probably getting more out of it with the one with the V trigger that actually forces you out. That is a little weird because it comes out about half the time, so it makes me wonder whether one of my other actions had just bad turn timings. That is not actually punishable. That was not real. Interesting. So his V trigger 2 seems to make his flash kicks just safe enough in neutral, so much blocks them that you can't just go in. So I suppose this introduces a different variant of LauraBot that has two particular things special about it. The first being, obviously, you know, if you want to practice not punishing the V trigger 2 with your super long punish like what's happening to me with Laura here, because this is 17 frames and it just doesn't work, then, you know, stay with him. But it also changes him up a bit in terms of how it discourages you from staying up in his face. It encourages you to stay at a particular range. The V-Trigger 1 also does this. But I think the V-Trigger 1 is a little more effective at the particular thing. You can take this variant if you really want to practice against V-Trigger 2, but otherwise, I mean, just stick with what you got. I should probably clean up my charge inputs a little bit later. I don't think this needs any tweaks, and Brilliant can tell me whether she sees anything in here, because I'm not really seeing anything that needs any modification. I'm just gonna keep doing this. LauraBot is an accurate simulation of fighting Gals in that it looks pretty boring sometimes. But it's pretty intense as well. Oof, that whiffs. I'm still not used to the parts where my reset punish whiffs. I think it's action 5 that I'm holding the charge too short. Oh well. Negative edge is not my friend. Oop. Negative edge is definitely not my friend. Heavy punch is a dangerous button to hit as Laura. The reason I do that is precisely because the reset misses. Because the flash kick on Laura just has so many strange properties to it compared to the other. Ooh, that is cool. Compared to the other DPs in terms of punishing it, that you might as well just not. That's really sick. I hadn't thought about it as much because I've seen Giles use the V trigger too as number 1, protection against Abigail V trigger. Number 2, just throwing projectiles from full screen because why not? But what's really important is that if you're doing the Uma Shoryu, the Uma flash kick, if you're just, you know, crouch walk into flash kick, it's a lot safer in neutral. If you whiff the kick, you see the amount of blocks then that's happening there. It is not easy to punish anymore. So it makes that particular playstyle more viable, and that's, I think, pretty interesting. For 2 bars, not bad. So now Guile shifts drastically in one particular aspect, but you don't really have to change anything. He still achieves his goal. He just achieves it a little worse, in my opinion. If you want to learn to not react to the V-Trigger Flash Kick, take this variant. If you want to focus only on bulldogging, please take the V-Trigger 1 variant specifically. And more extreme example of this problem with the V-Trigger 2 is Urien. Because Gao, as you saw, he's not really centered around the V-Trigger. It's more so, well, the V-Trigger is there, it's nice. Sometimes it just makes him even better at what he does. But for Urien, the bot was built around Aegis Reflector. He's designed to help you learn footsies. And for that goal... Oh, damn, Urien's on the other side. And for that goal, he's mostly fine. Because... in terms of the balance changes, I mean, because they didn't really change any of the buttons that we care about. None of his ground... Actually, no. My bad. None of his grounded normals had their recovery frames changed. So none of the whiff punishes of this bot, none of that stuff is going to change. But there is one central issue, and that is the Aegis Reflector. Because, unlike LauraBot, Urien uses this a lot. And you will see that real soon. And the issue with that is that Aegis and Tyrant Slaughter are quite different in terms of how you actually use them, especially because Tyrant Slaughter has that charging phase and all that. So an updated version of the bot will probably require a change, at least in the point system, because one of the point systems right now is defend against Aegis, and, well, you have no Aegis to defend against. But it remains to be seen how much it affects the bot overall. So let's just fight him a bit to get an idea of when he uses the V-Trigger now, and then version switch. Or he could do the usual bot thing and not do it at all, but, you know, whatever. I think his meter isn't actually supposed to be full. Oh, they're supposed to have it at minimum start for higher difficulty. Sorry, this thing. Let's just have it on as this for now. Just to give him more chance to do. There we go. So that's the main thing that happens with this bot, is you try to do something, he EX chariots you, or hits you with something, and then you're defending Aegis. There we go. Endurance Slaughter is pretty different from that. Ooh, I forgot he could do that one. But that's the main idea of UrienBot, is You try to play footsies with him, you try to whiff punish his crouch medium kick, which might not even be possible in your character, but aim for it anyway, because it changes the way that you look at the match, and therefore you end up thinking about your spacings. And if he lands a hit on you, that happens. So, he uses this V-trigger a lot, all the time. So, what happens if we decide we're going to change it? Well, let's put on the version select. That's like, that fireball is like -7. Alright, so the activation is still there, obviously. That's not bad. He still has pressure strings. They're different, but that's still pretty legit. They're less intense, for sure. But... ooh, interesting. Oof. Sometimes he just activates. I think that, so in the original version, you had for maximum difficulty that you put the V-trigger on minimum start. I don't think that's possible for this, because him activating V-trigger doesn't make him charge. He has to hold it to do it. So it doesn't make any sense for you to set it at minimum start if he has V-trigger too, because it just messes with him quite a bit. But if you leave it on normal, it's okay. I mean, again, if you're trying to, you know, feel fully punished here, you probably want to go for Aegis, and a lot of Urien players are sticking with Aegis anyway. But there we go. That's a cool setup. I didn't even know he could do that. So you get bodied and neutral either way. It's just that Tyrant Slaughter is a little further out and less explosive. Just from stand heavy kick? That's sick. Okay. Is that unsafe? It isn't. That is at least -3. Well, at least -4. You know, let's not give myself perfect execution on the blockchain of a move that I've never actually seen before. Yeah, that is not punishable with crouching jab on Laura. So, fun. It'd be kind of horrible if it was, but, you know, you gotta confirm these things. I'm actually surprised here because I was thinking when I got this, oh, he's gonna need changes because Tyrant Slaughter is so completely different. It's a different concept, but maybe I just didn't understand V-Trigger 2 that much. I feel like you could have a variant that uses it more effectively, but I'm not educated enough in the arts of the Illuminati to know precisely which way that is. I don't know if Rillian has any suggestions. I think he looks okay, like he could improve with a V-Trigger 2 specific variant, but I'm not really seeing the inputs for that right now. I feel like it's that the double crouch medium punch probably is the part that will need to be changed because he uses, from the few compilations I've noted of the V-Trigger 2 on Urien, the main thing that I can think of is having him do stuff after he... So you block the Tyrant Slaughter and he keeps doing something afterward? But... no, because it's unsafe, right? It would train you to hit buttons, I suppose. That would be the most that I can think about, is that after you block the Tyrant charge, that he's... that you get used to just hitting a button if he's twitchy. But I don't know if that's a particularly great goal to learn, especially because he has EdBot 1. And 2, I don't know if that thing is plus. It might be plus, and I don't know. It would be a little silly, but I mean, there's a lot of silly. That does look sick, though. In the end, you know, if your goal is footsies, this achieves it just about as well. And it achieves it a little differently in that the confirms that he can do into Tyrant Slaughter is different. Oh, right, right. Oh my god. I do! I have the frame advantage right here! This is the beauty of Season 3. We've had this thing for, actually... For what? Oh, actually over 2 weeks, because of the Sakura pre-release stream, they were showing this thing off. And here I am, not using the beautiful frame advantage tool, but he's -2. There you go. Problems, mystery solved! He's -2. Wow. I can't believe I forgot about that. I guess I'm so used to just being like, oh, I don't know. Oh well. But now you know it's -2, and if it's -2, then having him hit something afterward, I mean, it's okay, but it is just a pure mix-up on his end, especially if he has meters, so... Like Psycho Knuckle. Like, maybe think about the mix-up on that, but if the thing is about neutral, meh. So I guess if you're worried about his stand heavy kick more than his crouching medium punch, and also his crouch medium kick, then yeah, use this version, because he does have that confirm, and that is a confirm that I bet people will have. Yeah, sure. I think that's probably legitimate, because that is something that people are going to be doing with Urien in this season, is, you know, if they have the same kind of thinking that Ed players do, you're -2, world's your oyster here. You can EX headbutt, you can grab. So that would be my recommendation. Other than that, not that bad. So perhaps maybe see a variant of UrienBot at some point in the future. I'm gonna keep going here until... Man, that is such a sick confirm. He can't do that off Aegis, right? This is purely off Tyrant Slaughter. Here I am squeeing over the character that's probably going to beat me up. So this is something smart about this V-trigger that I hadn't thought about, is that a lot of Aegis combos are... a lot of Aegis combos are you V-cancel into the Aegis, and that got nerfed because of the V-trigger V-cancel change. But for Tyrant Slaughter, canceling into the Tyrant Slaughter doesn't grant you the extra hit. You can start your Tyrant Slaughter combos, right, like this. He didn't charge, he doesn't have to. So now he gets 2 combos as soon as he confirms a normal. Instead of well, 2 combos total, including the V cancel on Aegis. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, we're probably gonna end up looking at whether we can add a mix-up here. I think it's worth it, actually, thinking about it a little more, because if it's like Psycho Knuckle, people are gonna do it, and it's something that is useful to learn and to wire into your head. Yes, he might be -2, but he has these options. You should think about them. Okay, so we went through a bot first that didn't need any changes, which was Cammy, because she doesn't use V-Trigger. We went through one who needs a minor tweak, Ed, because of his V-Trigger, and it works quite well. We have Gal that actually doesn't need a change because it mostly performs the same function, but it depends. It makes you practice against this particular V-Trigger 2 variant if you want experience on reacting to that flash kick. And one where I thought it was going to make it worse in terms of footsies, but that stand heavy kick cancel is something important, and I think it adds a different dimension of footsies on Urien. So he's still achieving his goal. He's still making you think about the ground, and you know, you get hit by one thing and you eat damage. The only thing that would need to change is one, we have this ideas of possibly adding a mix-up after the Tyrant Slaughter. Oh, stand medium kick. Whoops. Well, he still doesn't get a hit off the stand medium kick into Aegis consistently. He does seem to get one at the absolute maximal tip of Tyrant Slaughter, and it still works every time for as far as I can see. So, sorry, I'm not a Urien player. I'm learning this as we go. The last bot for today, in terms of what we're showing off, is one where we don't really know what effect the new V-Trigger will have. Because, frankly, I don't understand it beyond one of the superficial things that people have been talking about. And it might need some new and interesting setups. So, with that, brave these A load times
Laura.
and head to Zangief. So once again, went back to the first Vigor trigger to see when he uses it. So the goal of ZangiefBot is to help train reactions to the Zangief matchup, which are mostly non-intuitive. Like, jumping out of a running bear grab is not something you do with most of the other characters that aren't somehow Abigail. Even Abigail you don't generally jump because he can do the run flip. One of these reactions that we have in this bot is, of course, the vacuuming V-trigger, where he just pulls you right in. Oh, what happened to my action 2? Oh, because he can't combo the... That's actually action 5, and it's because he can't combo that crouching light punch anymore that it just ends up looking weird. But yes, one of the reactions that we wanted to test with this bot is that. And we built the bot in part to have that Cyclone in there. With Cossack Muscle, what's likely to happen is you saw he has SPDs, right? There's the AX SPD. What's likely to happen is that it makes the fight against him a little more difficult, since his throws get quite powered up. I mean, I've seen some really crazy sequences with him, but there might be other interesting situations that might arise. I don't really understand the V-trigger, honestly. I have seen some brief descriptions of it. I've seen people use it for damage, but that's about it, and I'm pretty sure it does more than damage. Also, not only the V-Trigger 2, but also his Season 3 changes are causing strange behaviors on ZangiefBot here. I think we might want to play around with with that input, because it's looking really weird. That's really weird. I'm gonna re-record too. That's not looking good. It seemed fine when I did it, when I looked at it before. But let's try it a little bit. Is that a 360? Oh, we'll find out. Nope. 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 Kick came out for some reason. I'm not that good at churning butter. That's part of why I don't play Zangief. There we go. I think that one actually worked. So let's find out. There we go. We're good. Alright, let's start over. Did they change that? Because that is not one of the things that I was looking at. Was mostly just looking at how his crouching light punch changes effect things. Huh. Man, looking at this rain data from that is pretty interesting. See, as you can see, he goes into the V trigger quite often. Man, I remember when he got me with that like 9 times out of 10. Another thing that this lets you practice now that with the Season 3 changes is they increase the recovery on command throws quite a bit, so you can practice your super long range whiff punishes like that. Right? That would probably not have hit last season, I'm pretty sure. So you can get to practice all sorts of stuff with command throws. And that's sort of similar to what ends up happening with Abigail if you end up out of the range of his command throw, is same sort of thing. So let's finish this round, and then we'll turn on Diversion Select. Wow, that hits long range. That is a whiff punish I did not think about. Huh. That's real. I know that's real because I do something like that with sweep. Huh. Well, even if his V trigger 2 ends up being a little underwhelming, at least I learned something today. Damn, that's nice. Got scooped. Way more damage. Damn. Alright, so let's turn on Cossack Muscle. Now the main effect that I know of Cossack Muscle is obviously his SPDs get bigger. 2 scoops for the price of 1. But what else happens? I have no idea. There we go. The hell? What? What? They add a wrestling announcer? They add a wrestling announcer freaking out when Zangief does throws in V-Trigger 2. That is so wrestling. Oh, that's legit. So my question is it power up running bear grab? Come on, Zangief. So because of the change in V-Trigger, our point system for ZangiefBot is going to have to change because, well, point B is the V reversal of the V-Trigger, which that's not really relevant here. Everything else, correct, but this, not so much. I'm dead. Oof, that does damage. Should probably actually get hit by some of this stuff to see how it changes. That doesn't eat any V-meter, so I presume it doesn't actually work that way. What makes me wonder is if he can combo OTs. That's a whole super's worth of damage. Right, what makes me wonder is if he can combo the heavy kick into the... I'm gonna give myself infinite health because I'm gonna die. Is if he can combo the kick into the... Oh, he would... Wait, well, no, it's set up correctly. So that was actually the action I just fixed. So let's just play that for a little bit, because I want to see if he can combo that. That could be pretty big, or otherwise we're going to be waiting here for a long time. That also doesn't eat the meter, interestingly enough. I can't seem to combo into... Alright, so I can do that. All good. I don't think he can combo into it from anything, really. Well... Did I just accidentally do a 720? That's just like me. Now, so really all it seems to do is give him more damage. Now, that damage is serious damage, but other than that, not that great. Oh crap, I overwrote action 3, not action 2. Boy. Well, here we go. That was bad. just for the sake of my own sanity, let's too late. And that's correct. Yeah, we're good. So Cossack Muscle really isn't that interesting. If anything, it robs you a little bit of things to learn in this matchup, because the only thing that's going to happen if you get hit by a V-Trigger 2 SPD is that you take more damage. Right, this is what is going to happen in V-Trigger 2. But that's about it, and I don't think that helps you that much in terms of learning stuff on Zangief. It just means you're going to get blown up more. So, and because it also doesn't give him anything that unique in terms of matchups, like even if it increases the range of the EXXPD, the rest of the matchup doesn't change. So stuff like being able to whiff punish his normals, being able to whiff punish stuff like Daria, being able to jump out of this, it doesn't change, really. I mean, I can let him grab me. No change in V-Trigger, nothing. He does go into V-Trigger often though, but I thought it might be exciting, but it seems that my understanding of the V-Trigger was correct. It just gives you damage. It's good. It gives you hella damage, but that's it. Oof, he hurts. So, the Cossack Muscle was nowhere near as exciting as I thought it might be. In the end, just stick with V-Trigger 1 for ZangiefBot because you're not really going to learn much more in V-Trigger 2. And in matches, well, just don't get thrown, please. For your own sake. So, instead, I am going to head to LauraBot. Now, before it does have an announcer. It is so great. I love his V-Trigger 2. It is so full of hype. It is wonderful, and what's going to happen is that Snake Eyes is going to activate V-Trigger 2, and he's going to scoop someone for half their health, and it will be an eruption in the crowd, and the announcer is there, and it's fantastic. I love it. Anyway, right. So, before Season 3 started, we were playing around with the concept of a LauraBot, but because of the change to her stand medium kick, which is a pretty serious nerf. I mean, I don't really almost ever use the button anymore. We are going to make a prototype of Laura for this season to see if we can make it work, because previous season worked great. I liked it quite a bit, but in this season it might not quite work out with how slow the stand medium kick is. So let's find out how that is. Ah, crap, I already moved her. Well, let's find out. That's action 4. Did I erase her? No, that's legit. That's real. Okay, we're good. Let's try that one again, because I think I messed it up. The timing is pretty tight, so I need to adjust out my Laura skills here. Really, is it fine if I mash the sand medium kick at the end? Because I just wanted to get it the first possible frame. I think it's fine though. Right, and I should... Was it 1, 2, and 5? Okay. It's been a while since I've looked at this prototype. Oof, it's so sickening to see it so slow. Huh. That's one thing. If they try to backdash out of your heavy kick for some reason, you can snipe them with the... So the main thing that we had for LauraBot the last time is that you would backdash out of her crouch medium kick to check what happens. And I am backdashing out of entirely the wrong button. I should not backdash there. How is that coming out actually?
KO.
I really should be blocking that better, given I know the character. That does not seem right. Should the V trigger be hidden? Because I think it's a little more effective that way if she does... Right, if she isn't doing the heavy kick at the end. Let's try and see what that does. Oh, okay. Yeah, because she always ends the dash with... I see. Yeah, that's about as fast as it gets. The fact it's there, I'm just gonna eat. I think my backdash is good enough that... Well, actually no, because now that it's 7 frames...
KO.
Now in that particular case it's because I had no back to dash to. So let's try and do that a little bit more. Right, so that snipes you right out. That is a hard read. But that is no longer a thing. Maybe it was before, but at 7 frames, that second medium kick just isn't going to catch at least Laura. My question is if it catches anybody else. Like, do you know somebody with a particularly terrible backdash in terms of... Right, even that. A particularly terrible backdash in terms of how long they stay in front. I think Nash is pretty bad at this. Getting my ass handed to me by a pot Laura.
Perfect KO.
I mean, it is a mix-up though, right? Right, stuff like that, one. But, like, that. Exactly that. Thing is, I'm just not seeing that many people using this move anymore. Like, I've talked to Laura players and they're like, either I'm not using this in neutral anymore or I'm playing Colleen now. And yes, they switched from Laura to Colleen. I guess they just like that V trigger too. But maybe some people will take it out because it is pretty decent in neutral. It's got hella range and it is useful to do and at least learn to deal with that mix-up of, oh, I'm going to try to backdash, I don't want to be here, and then you get sniped. Because you can cancel that pretty late in the animation, right? Because you can do immediately, or you can do... So you can wait just a teensy little bit to see if they twitch. Or you can... Right? Instead of doing it immediately. Alright, sure. Let's do that. Did you see those frame drop? I'm worried a little bit about the game because I've been seeing those frames drop in training a lot. Eh, well. Gotta work these optimizations into the engine. That is remarkably difficult to... Yeah, she just gets way out of your way. I love that that can hit behind my head now.
Perfect KO.
I remember this being our meaty spot and me not ended up using it that often. Ooh, that's smart. I love what they did to Sam Meaty Punch. So this was originally our meaty spot and we added, as part of a potential kata, the sand medium kick backdash thing. Now, I still think it's working out, though it's not quite as good as it was before the Season 3 update. He seems to be about as annoying to fight as ever.
Perfect KO.
So, I think I'll give it another life and then switch over to V-Trigger 2. That's real fun. What? I can use EX Clap to avoid throws? What? I should test that out at some point. That's kind of sick. Yeah, the canceling seems to be just fine.
Perfect KO.
So I think I'm going to switch over to VT2 and see if that does anything. I think it might actually mean that she doesn't have a very good... Because the inputs for V-Trigger 2, it's one... It's either you use the V-Trigger button to sway, and then you either press it again to go into the command throw, or you press V-Skill forward to dash. Now I think that might mean that this bot still works out, but I'm not going to hold my breath here. Oop. Right. That would be what ends up happening. You can punish raw sway, as I have just demonstrated. Pretty sure you can crush counter at that. She doesn't V-trigger that much. There we go. Yes, you have to press the V-trigger button twice. So actually, let me demonstrate it. You have to press it twice. And alternately, you can do... that. You can cancel into a V-skill dash, but you have to press it twice in order to get the command through. I'm not seeing a whole lot of benefit on this other than to get yourself to get used to just seeing sway randomly and punishing it. Because the command throw does whiff sometimes. It's about the size of her throw range, so if you're just slightly outside of that... Okay, yeah. Yeah, if you can get one more input that can take a V-trigger input, then it'll work out. And we'll have a V-trigger to LauraBot. Yeah, the frames definitely just dropped there. Weird. Maybe it's because I'm streaming. No, it's on a separate processor, so...
KO.
My system is not that poor, Kansuki. I'm fine. My system can definitely handle all of this gold everywhere. As action what? Those 5? Sorry, really, which action is that for? Is this how they're getting people to buy PS4 Pro so their frames don't drop? Because I can do the input, I just... Am I overwriting 5? Or 4? Well, I might as well practice the input at least. I think that's okay, but I just need to know which one, which action. Heck. I'm just practicing the action. Right, but which action is that for? Because I don't think I caught that. Oof, hold on. Oh, there, that's better. Okay. Oop. Oh, yeah, because it's the same, yeah, I should have recognized it as well. Oh, well. Onward. So... Oh, I'm wrong side. Hidden jump, that's not good. Perfect. Alright, so with that done, let's just test that out a bit. That probably is a little... Doesn't actually combo, but let's just go for that. And let's see how that goes. I always think I can sweep under that, but you can't sweep under that. You can't steal my thunder. Do I spend too much time standing still? Oh no, that's just because of the light bolt animation. No, that's good. Right. Yeah, I see, I see. It's kind of hard to get her to do it. Ooh, there's one. Oh, I didn't? Yeah, you're right. There we go. I should learn to crush counter that. Well, actually, it's not really useful because most people aren't just going to do raw sway. Damn. Right, that's the real thing that you should do against sway. Or that. Yep, this works. This is a V-Trigger 2 LauraBot. Huh. Yeah, this ends up working out pretty well, because it mixes her up, her V-Trigger 2 up quite a bit. So, there's our Season 3 LauraBot prototype. Seems to work pretty well. Oof. Man, I am so not used to that. I'm gonna meet another Laura with that uses sway, and I'm not gonna be ready. But because of this bot, I will be ready. So let's keep doing that. Ooh, yeah, that is difficult. I really don't know how to make that happen, but maybe there is a way. That does crush counter. Even on the B-skill dash part? Damn, that hurts. They're making hard reads here. That's one way to dodge the follow-ups there. There's my meaty. I've been wanting to get that down for a long time. Yeah. New LauraBot could be quite interesting and could give you quite a bit to practice at in terms of reactions and into mix-ups, because with or without the sway this ends up pretty interesting, and it does make me wonder if we can make a variant for the V-Trigger one as well, because she has some really dirty things with this into the overhead. Wow, my voice is not doing good today. So, finish her off, or be finished off by her. Right, and you can also end the dash with the command throw. Oh, that's interesting. And that's all for me now. Presenting the LauraBot V2 prototype for Season 3, which might be our first of this season indeed. And you can see her brush is pretty vicious, and if we can keep working on this could get pretty tricky. So, today we went over a couple of our bots, and we will be going through more of these and the changes that are going to happen to our bots as a result of V-triggers and balance changes over the next few days. So stay tuned if you want to see how the bots have evolved, or how they stay the same, as happened with Cammy and Ed and Guile. Come back tomorrow for another tune-up stream. This has been Omnirabbit, signing off for 2_MK.